everyone, welcome back to the Film Feast, your source for film news and discussion on YouTube. My name is Sam Donches, and I'm your host, and sorry, I have been on a little bit of a hiatus because I have been focused so diligently on finishing this Film Feast Watches series for 007. So much so that I didn't change my camera angle. I got my lights set up, I've got my focus set. I don't want to mess with that, but I wanted to come back to the Film Feast because this particular story just reached out and grabbed me and said, Sam, you gotta talk about this. I'm sure you're wondering what movie I'm talking about. It's the Death Note live-action American adaptation. And yes, it is happening. No matter what you say, no matter how much you don't want it to happen, it's gonna happen. Unless the financial backing just completely bottoms out. Even if the lead drops out due to scheduling issues, even if there are budgetary concerns, script concerns, the director just doesn't want to make the movie anymore, it's still going to happen because the Hollywood machine churns ever on. Originally, this video was going to be all about the reasons why I'm excited for the live-action Death Note adaptation and why I think you should be too. But with a straight face, I just can't do that anymore. And I'm still excited for it, but I could never possibly try and convince any of you guys why you should be excited, because there is an inherent problem within this movie, and it all comes down to whitewashing. Now, I know I've gone on the record saying that I'm in support of Scarlett Johansson playing the lead in the Ghost in the Shell adaptation, and the more I thought about it after recording that episode, the more I was just like, my God, Rinko Kikuchi would play that part perfectly. And it's not just because she's a Japanese actor. She is also an action star, but she can also compose herself so incredibly well. Her straight face is so straight. I love her. She is so great in movies ranging from The Brothers Bloom to Pacific Rim to Kumiko the Treasure Hunter. She's absolutely fantastic. And now we find ourselves with a live-action Death Note American adaptation. Originally, Shane Black was set to direct it, but now it is in the hands of Adam Wingard. Oddly enough, the last time I gave praise to Adam Wingard on this channel was for his eventual, who knows when it's gonna happen, American adaptation of I Saw the Devil. Wingard directed one of my favorite movies of 2014, The Guest, which was an excellent 80s action thriller throwback, and he also directed a movie called You're Next, which was a fairly by-the-numbers home invasion horror film, but at the same time, when you really look at it, it was a film that absolutely gutted upper middle class white culture. So when I heard that this genre director was taking on Death Note, a mystery thriller with horror elements, I was like, fuck yeah! But the story that really brought this movie into the consciousness of internet readers and anime fans alike is that Nat Wolff is in final negotiations to play the lead. Nat Wolff had a breakout supporting role in The Fault in Our Stars, a film that I mostly liked, but I loved him in that role. He also was a lead in Paper Towns, didn't see it, but he was in the running to play the new Spider-Man. Unfortunately, he didn't get the role because he was considered too old. But now here he is in final negotiations to play a character named Light Yagami. Although in the case of these American adaptations, who knows what his character's name will be. If you don't know anything about Death Note, it is a very popular manga series that started coming to America in the mid-2000s. Not long after that, it was turned into an anime that also came to America and was shown on Adult Swim. There were 4 live-action feature-length films made from the Death Note series, and now a live-action series is happening in Japan right now. So now with this hugely popular Japanese franchise being Americanized for movie-going audiences, a lot of anime fans and people in general are concerned. And to an extent, I don't blame them. Anime fans have more cause for concern than anybody. No, you can't convince me. That's not a real movie. That's an infected stab wound. That's what that is. In my opinion, I think studios learned a lesson from Dragon Ball Evolution, and we have come a long way since then. This is an important step in the right direction, but we still have a long way to go. And the casting of Nat Wolff is an unfortunate side effect of a Hollywood system that just won't quit. Hollywood has a poisonous mindset in this regard, and they are meticulous about making as much money as possible with focus groups and this and that and the other. There's so many things that the Hollywood system does to try and make as much money and ensure that each movie will make as much money as possible. But here's the facts. The population of non-whites in this country is estimated to be around 38%, and that is rapidly becoming not a minority. And Asian Americans make up about 5% of that total population, so I think it's time we start seeing more Asian faces in Hollywood productions. And that takes more than just Ken Jeong or Ken Watanabe walking on set being like, hey, we're here. And I'll admit, some great strides are being made on television, especially on ABC. Mostly, entirely on ABC. They've got Quantico, Dr. Ken, and Fresh Off the Boat, which is in its second season now, and I'm hearing it's hilarious. And some will make the argument that, hey, if they wanted to cast an Asian American in the role of Light in this American adaptation, they would have. But there aren't any good Asian actors that fit that role. Bullshit. This isn't some unfortunate casting call where the only good actors to show up were white males. This is a carefully calculated system implemented by men and women in Hollywood to essentially put minorities down. But you'll never get an apology or an excuse for any of this because it's just an equation to ensure that our films reach as wide of an audience as possible and are received well by as wide of an audience as possible. Do you mean as white of an audience as possible? I know I'm rambling and I'm gonna make it even worse by backtracking by saying that I am still excited for Adam Wingard's Death Note, and I'm still excited to see what Nat Wolff does with that material and that character of Light, because in my deepest, darkest opinion, I genuinely feel like Light was never really characterized by his race or his culture. But to an extent, that is a cop-out, and I'm sorry. But that's still my opinion, and I can never, with a straight face, try and convince any of you that a white actor deserves this role more than anyone else. I love good stories, and Death Note is a damn good story. But good stories aren't enough anymore. We need more diversity in Hollywood, and this just isn't cutting it anymore. So with all that said, that's it for this episode of the Film Feast. Sorry if I came off too preachy or like a hypocrite or like a flip-flop, but you guys understand what I'm saying. I really hope that some of you share my sentiments, and some of you, if you disagree, I would definitely like to open up a dialogue in the comments section or on my Twitter page. I also have a Facebook page that you can like and hit me up on there. And don't forget about my Letterboxd page too. I still am on that all the time. Always updating movies, always watching. As always, I appreciate the support. You guys are making 2015 one hell of a year. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm gonna go watch some more Bond movies now. Bye. A movie about a young Han Solo doesn't really interest me at all. In the wrong hands. But the guys who will be directing this Han Solo origin movie have my backing 110%. Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Let's start right off with where you may know these directors from best. There's a good chance that you've seen their hit animated film from 2009, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. That film got a sequel that was written by them. They also directed and wrote the Lego Movie, which was, in my opinion, one of their biggest challenges placed in front of them and also one of their greatest successes. And they also directed 21 and 22 Jump Street. Some of you may also know Lord and Miller from their MTV series, Clone High, from the early 2000s. They also wrote and directed the first 2 episodes of Fox's new show, The Last Man on Earth. So with all that evidence laid out in front of you, I hope you get a better idea of this duo's talent.